Hello and welcome to the 6:15 p.m. installment of the news on Canal International, of course, broadcasting live from Douala. First things first, a resume of tonight's top stories. Here's Gladys Ambo Ndibang.
Residents on Tamru, a remote locality in the Ndonga Mountains, have been considerably disrupted as a result of a protracted lockdown imposed by separatist fighters. Elsewhere, the recently formed Alliance for a Peaceful Transition in Cameroon is currently witnessing initial signs of a collapse. Its founders are frowning at several members of the platform who have, and without any form of authorization, declared themselves as spokespersons. And then beyond Cameroon, over a period of only 48 hours, at least 127 people, and mostly civilians, were killed as the army clashed with rapid support forces. Those were our top stories. Stay tuned for developments in a jiffy.
Thanks once again for tuning in, and let's kickstart this edition of the news with glimpses of the evolution of the ongoing Anglophone crisis, and that's because residents of Tamru, that's a remote locality in the Donga Mantung division of the Northwest region, have been living in fear and uncertainty for a while now. Up next, Sherif Fasali reports that a month-long lockdown imposed by separatists keeps stretching on, and that's despite repeated interventions by the Cameroon army. Here's a story.
The village of Ntambru in Du subdivision has become a symbol of the ongoing conflict that has plagued the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon for years. For the past month, residents have endured a lockdown imposed by separatist fighters who have established a camp in the area and created an atmosphere of terror.
You cannot be living in an environment where you are getting fears, those gunshots every day.
Gunfire has become a daily occurrence, forcing villagers to remain indoors and halting all economic and social activity. Schools and markets have been shut down, leaving children unable to learn and families struggle to survive without basic income. Fear of violence has paralyzed the community, with residents unsure when normalcy might return.
We have no market, and imagine an old mother who have to carry yams to go to the nearest market, and the nearest market is Antai, which is equally very far, a good number of kilometers from the village. So it also contributes to the issue of people not feeling safe there. So if you live without selling what you have worked, how do you survive? If you fall sick, how do you get money to get to the hospital?
The Cameroonian government has deployed military forces to the area, aiming to dismantle the separatist camp and restore peace. However, their presence has done little to alleviate the fears of the villagers. Sporadic clashes between government troops and separatist fighters have instead heightened tensions, and civilians caught in the middle.
Sometimes in the night, there are a series of attacks that come, and we have just recently witnessed a lot of killings, and most of it is done in the night. And you cannot really say who is responsible for that.
Residents of Ntambru are calling for immediate action to ensure their safety and bring an end to the crisis. Many are urging the government and international bodies to address the root causes of the conflict and work towards a sustainable resolution.
And earlier this week, seals placed on the door of the office hosting the network of defenders of human rights in Central Africa were broken by the organization's board chair, Alice Nkom. Administrative authorities in Douala, where REDAC is based, have been reinforcing the seal and prohibiting access to the site. D. Mori now reports that all this comes after Alice Nkom failed to respect a summons served her by the prefect for the Vuri division.
At a distance, any passerby is attracted by this seal that has been reinforced on the main gates of the headquarters of the Network for the Defense of Human Rights in Central Africa, this time with chains prohibiting access. This move comes after the president of the Administrative Council of REDAC, Barrister Alice Com, refused to comply with the SO of Ori's summon. According to our previous reports, the seals were initially broken by Barrister Alice Com, but the administration has since reinforced them with chains, making it impossible to breach. The incident has sparked controversy, with many questioning the reasoning behind the reinforced seals.
From a legal standpoint, breaking a seal is an offense condemned by the legal code. This means that no matter the reason, no citizen, including the President of the Republic, has the right to break a seal, even if motivated by a form of humanity. However, it can happen that under certain circumstances, we are forced to do so. Regarding Alice Com, her career is a monumental achievement. It is abnormal for people to put her in difficult situations. Therefore, the breaking of the seal here can be seen as an act of protest.
A lawyer at the Cameroon Bar expressed confusion over the situation, stating that the seals should not have been reapplied, especially with additional security measures.
This person doesn't take on missions that involved manifesting against others in any way. However, the cutting off of the seal by Alice Com should be viewed as an act of protest, and she has every right to do so. In fact, Alice Com has my full support. On my Facebook page, I even called on the Bar Association to stand up for her and protect her as a valuable asset to the state. As one of the few strong and pioneer female lawyers, she deserves our backing.
The lawyer's comments come after Barrister Alice Com, the president of the Administrative Council of REDAC, failed to comply with the SO summons following the initial breaking of the seal.
The administration should not have returned to reapply the seal, especially with the addition of chains. A seal and chains are not the same thing. It is regrettable that they fail to see how they are harming themselves by resealing. Instead, it reveals the incompetence of the administration.
The REDAC headquarters remain closed this Wednesday, December 11, with the reinforced seal serving as a physical barrier to entry. The situation has raised concerns about the implications and stakes involved in this matter, with many calling for the clarification on the situation.
Now, and barely months after its creation, the Alliance for Peaceful Transition in Cameroon is already facing some internal harm and passing for spokespersons of that organization. Hyacinth Chia reports from Yaoundé.
Barely few months from its existence, the Alliance for a Peaceful Transition in Cameroon seems to be infected already with divisive tendencies. Before the men and women of the press, this December 11 in Yaoundé, Olivier Billet, Celestine Jamin and other leaders indicate that some members who were fully involved in the platform have taken another direction, like Barrister Kire Mona and Professor Nkumvondo. The recent case of another member projecting himself as a spokesperson of the platform has not gone down well with the other leaders.
Sortir publiquement pour annoncer qu'il était le porte-parole de l'ATP.
He has announced publicly that he is a spokesperson of the alliance. We say no to such. This document is clear. There is no such thing. We see a hidden agenda with some imposters.
Mais quel est le projet qui se cacherait derrière? Il y avait usurpation et imposture.
Olivier Billet insists that a candidate shall be selected through a democratic process.
l'ATP a beaucoup avancé.
Since February, we are making progress. We are heading towards primary elections to be conducted digitally to select a candidate for the 2025 presidential elections.
Pour choisir le candidat qui représentera l'ATP à l'élection présidentielle au Cameroun.
Meantime, those that have already indicated to be the candidates of the Alliance for a Peaceful Transition in the 2025 elections are Celestine Jamin, Olivier Billet, and Jean-Marie Floranzana, while the doors are still open for others to manifest their interests before the primary elections.
And now let's shift attention to the aging taxis plying the streets of Cameroon's commercial hub Douala, despite their very poor conditions. Drivers and passengers blame bad roads as well as the lack of proper maintenance, amongst others. Here's Cynthia Latte.
Cracked windshields, unwinding side windows, broken headlights and faded paint, stubborn car doors are just a few issues plaguing Douala's fleet of commercial taxis. A ride from the Sandaga market to various neighborhoods in the city highlights these ongoing problems. We come here because we have no other options when we're in a hurry. What do? We know it's risky, but we have no choice. The streets of the economic capital are filled with similar taxis, many with makeshift repairs like cardboard and tape, transporting passengers who are often left with few alternatives despite the risk involved.
A taxi is not very well. It's bad. Driver not clean.
Taxi drivers, however, point to factors beyond their control when explaining the worsening conditions of their vehicles. The problem is that there is no work. Commercial motorbike riders have taken over the market. These old vehicles exist because we cannot make enough money to fix them, especially with rising fuel prices. Others acknowledge that the poor state of the road is a major factor in the rapid deterioration of their vehicles, but they also stress the lack of proper upkeep.
Les gens n'ont pas pris l'habitude souvent de laver les véhicules.
The issue is that many drivers aren't accustomed to cleaning their vehicles. They are always in a hurry to make money instead of maintaining their work tools.
Il y a un manque de suivi.
There is also a lack of follow-up on vehicle maintenance compounded by the state of our roads, which rapidly degrade the cars. As Douala's population continues to grow, so does the need for a more reliable and well-maintained transport system. With both passengers and drivers facing daily challenges, there is growing demand for solutions that address both vehicle upkeep and broader infrastructure issues.
Now, here's a story we've been following since the start of this week. There is some development because the Cameroon Bar Association has called for an independent investigation into charges of rebellion and the obstruction of justice against barrister Richard Tamfu. The call follows widespread condemnation of his assault by gendarmes in Douala on November the 27th. Gladys Ambondi Bang reports.
The Cameroon Bar Association has taken a firm stance in defense of one of its prominent members, Barrister Tamfu Richard, who faces charges of rebellion and obstruction of justice. The charges come in the wake of a viral video showing the legal advocate being allegedly assaulted by gendarmes in Douala.
We are not comfortable with the result, the outcome of the religious, investigation, conducted by the gendarmerie. We are not comfortable with that. And Cameroon is a state of law, and the persons who are supposed to be, the defendant or the accused person, are the judge in their own case. The panel was set up, and from their results or from their reports, Barrister Tamfu is being incriminated for obstruction of justice, rebellion, destruction, and many others.
The Bar Association has described the charges as partial, raising concerns about the impartiality of the investigation conducted by law enforcement. In response, the association has written to the Minister Delegate in charge of defense, urging the establishment of an independent and neutral commission to re-examine the case.
We have written to the Minister of Defense asking him to reassign that file to another unit for proper investigation, because the people who carry out the investigation were partial. We need an impartial unit, because everybody that saw that video, the first offense that is obvious that everybody saw is torture. So they could not have carried out an investigation, and torture is not part of it.
Members of the legal profession have also described the incident as indicative of broader issues within the judicial system.
The matter will certainly go to court and will follow it up. There's a team of lawyers that have designated to follow up the matter.
As pressure mounts, the Ministry of Defense is yet to respond to the Bar Association's demands.
Now let's head back to the capital Yaoundé, where the third ordinary session of Parliament and especially of the National Assembly wrapped up earlier today with lawmakers adopting 13 bills. That includes the 2025 state budget, which balances revenue and expenditure at 7,317 billion CFA francs. As you tell us, Beatrice Ngamo.
End of the third ordinary session of the National Assembly this December 11, 2024. Many feel satisfied.
And we are going back to restitute to explain to our people the 13 bills that were adopted during this session, in which one of them is the bill on the personal data protection.
So this is the bill on civil status registration, responding to the preoccupations of the people. Another is the budget for the 2025 financial year, which has witnessed an increase. MPs want to see it impacts lives of population like
prices of certain communities like cement will have to drop. We witness that the Parliamentary Nigeria corridor, the road will be improved. As we, as members of Parliament, want to reiterate that as we have voted the budget, we are expecting the members of government to execute the budget as we have voted, so that the Cameroonians will feel the impact of it.
We're going back to my constituency very soon, and I'll have a one-on-one with each of my constituents, those who are available, and maybe town hall meeting to educate them on what has transpired here during this third session of the 2024 legislative year, and we shall talk and know what we will bring forward on the table in 2025. So Cameroon is moving forward. We are voting important laws, and development will follow.
All was not roses, as the people's representative do not hold back, especially as they foresee
multiplication des impôts, l'augmentation des taux.
The multiplication of taxes, increase in tax rates, though kind of hidden, but they always bring it up that it is not good. We told them they can increase tax base without necessarily affecting enterprises, households, and the economy as a whole. And once all of this are in place, the one that pays the bill is the household, and so inflation. The new architectural jewel in place needs to be complete with other dispositions, such as offices for the MPs, according to Honorable Adamu Kupit, so too the cancellation of parliamentary micro-projects, which was to be replaced. The last session for the 2024 legislative year has been closed by the House Speaker, Honorable Kavayeye Jibril, wishing all merry and a prosperous 2025.
And at about 34 minutes after 6 p.m. Cameroon time, you're tuned into the news on Canal International. Of course, we're coming to you live from Douala. Now, beyond Cameroon and precisely off to Sudan, where reports indicate that at least 127 people, and mostly civilians, were killed on Monday and Tuesday as airstrikes and artillery from both army and paramilitary rapid support forces intensified. In North Darfur, for example, more than 8 barrel bombs hit a market, killing over 100 people. Forces shelled Omdurman, killing at least 20, including 14 on a bus. The ongoing conflict has displaced millions, and the United Nations now says over 30 million people are in desperate need of assistance. And that's how we pull the curtains on this installment of the news. Thanks once again for the privilege of your company. Accept the best of gratitudes from the entire production crew. Thanks, and stay on, because the debrief is up next with a deep dive into the relationship between the Ministry of Territorial Administration and non-governmental organizations in Cameroon. More news at 1950 with Alain Gislain Kanga. Bye-bye.